Well, it is our pleasure tonight to be joined by François Proulx, who is a security engineer from PasswordBox. As you remember, in episode number 332...
That is correct.
Is that the last time you were
here?
That was,
I think, the last time I was here.
It was an exciting episode because we got to talk about this product called PasswordBox.
Which I immediately went home and downloaded, and I have on my phone and on my... Well, I had it on my laptop,
It'll
I'm
work
sure.
on Linux?
Yes.
We'll get that on there for you.
Okay.
For sure.
But I do have questions, so I am, like, over the moon excited that I'm here for this episode as well.
And that's it, is that Megan, we had an amazing discussion about the product, but after the show, I started getting a lot of emails saying, okay, well, I need to know more about this, this, and this.
Right.
So François joins us tonight. François, it is so nice to have you here. Thanks for being on. The question was, and I apologize, the question is, as a security engineer for PasswordBox, what is it that you do at the company?
Sure. Thanks for having me. So I joined PasswordBox about 6 months ago as a full-time security engineer. Mm-hmm. The company is growing really fast. So my main focus is really to lead what we call secure development. So that is our products are, we develop software components across multiple platforms. That includes browser extensions in Chrome, Firefox, and Internet Explorer, and all of that, and mobile platforms. So we have a number of engineers developing the product, improving the features, and I'm overviewing all aspects related to security in all these teams. So I do training with each and every team.
Yeah.
I do what's called auditing. So I review the source code to make sure that it doesn't have any issues. And also, as we design new features that will be coming soon, I'm taking the lead on making sure that before it even reaches the source code level, we have thought of the various problems and addressed them beforehand.
It sounds like a pretty big responsibility as far as that goes. I mean, with something like PasswordBox, where you are literally, quite literally, making it possible to eliminate passwords, the need for passwords, in a manner of speaking.
Yeah,
it's a big responsibility.
Most definitely, and it is one that I take very seriously and at heart. I've been for many years a developer myself, so I know what it's like to develop products. And because of various projects I've worked in the past, I've been focusing more and more as the years pass by towards secure development. And now with PasswordBox, it's definitely a very cool and exciting opportunity to do that with such a great team here.
Very cool, very cool. One of the things that is really, one of the questions, François, that has come up here at the show with our viewers, one of the biggest things, concerns with regards to putting our passwords on an online service is what keeps our passwords safe from prying eyes, or even, these days a lot of people have concerns about governments.
Definitely.
Privacy.
Forcefully,
as they should, and I, as a security engineer and also involved in various community group, open source projects and such, it is definitely a topic that I care about, and we take it at heart. The design of our product in terms of security takes this from the very start, and that is how we were able to achieve something that protects the user's password, but then also provides them with tremendous usability improvements.
Okay, so can I be incredibly blunt?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to be blunt. I work for the American government. I'm NSA or whatever, and I've come to you with the official documentation to say you need to give me Robbie Ferguson's passwords. What happens?
So what is stored in our databases? So let's say that happens. what is stored in our databases for each and every user accounts is only encrypted data. So obviously there is, for instance, a few metadata. So for instance, the email, we need to keep that unencrypted because we need to send you an email so that you can receive the confirmation of the account creation and other things. But apart from that, the critical assets, such as the password assets, and also all the wallet items that we call. So you can store credit cards, contact addresses, and other things. Those are all, I would say, encrypted in a black box manner. So what we receive on the server side is an opaque blob that we then store, and then for later retrieval and syncing across devices.
Okay, so
you don't have the passwords to share.
No, so
right.
So it was probably briefly discussed in the first podcast with Megan, but we do ask users upon account creation to create a strong master password that we call. Yep. So it's called a master password because it really is the one that will be protecting all the other assets that you then put in PasswordBox. So in terms of a little bit more technical details, we take this master password and using well-known cryptographic algorithms, we're able to derive a key that will then be used to protect those assets. And that derivation process cannot, or at least cannot be reversed in a manner of that like short enough. Let's say if you choose a strong master password and we help you do in technical terms, you might have heard of brute force attacks. So that is essentially guessing every combinations of characters in a password, one after the other. So let's say you were to guess a 10 characters password against the technology that we use with PasswordBox. It would literally take hundreds, if not more, years to go through all the possibilities.
And by then, I probably am not too concerned about my Facebook login information.
Right.
Yeah.
In 200 years.
Yeah.
So we're speaking with François Proulx. He's a security engineer from PasswordBox, and we really want to get to the bottom of how this product is able to. We've talked about how the service makes it so that it's easier for us to use our computers because we don't have to memorize thousands of really difficult passwords, nor do we have to keep them insecurely in a text file or a spreadsheet. This software uses a master password to protect our data.
So then you can make stronger, bigger, longer passwords.
That's exactly
because you're not, picking a word like Yahoo as your password.
Well, if I have to change my password on this site, it needs to be something I can remember so I can log in. Well, not with PasswordBox. It can be something absurd. And it's long and strong. So, François, the question arises in our chat room. Garby is concerned about the legacy locker feature because legacy locker, unlike your, like what you're describing with our master password, we've actually set it up so that, for example, my wife, and I think this is a brilliant tool, and we can go into details and everything, but you can think of so many scenarios. So, if I were to die, what happens to all my online particulars, my login information? Who's going to renew category5.tv as a domain name if nobody else has the password to get into my registrar and renew it for me to keep this thing going after I'm dead? So, as much as we don't like to think about that, fact is, if that were to happen, if there was some tragedy, I want my wife or next of kin or whoever to be able to access my information. PasswordBox makes that possible. How can you make that possible? How can you transfer now my private passwords to my wife? I understand that we need to verify death and everything, but you're able to actually transfer them over to her in such a way that she can use them, even though she does not know my master password. How's that possible?
Yeah. So, just for a start, So I'll be happy to answer your question.
Sure.
And that is definitely something it is a patent pending technology.
Okay,
that,
this is interesting.
We are quite proud of.
Can I say?
I'll be very happy to share details.
Okay, that the question came up, and now I'm very, very proud because my assumption was that this is proprietary, and that there are some proprietary things that go into it. So, but it sounds like I was pretty correct in that.
Mm-hmm.
So, being that this is a private, a private process that you're not going to reveal, how can you give us confidence that this product is in fact, because if I can transfer my passwords now over to my wife or to Sasha or to whoever using this next of kin legacy locker feature, how can that be possible if the Canadian government can't step in and say, give me the passwords?
Mm-hmm. So when I say it's patent pending to protect some aspects, some very specific aspects of that technology.
Yeah.
But the underlying cryptographic primitives that are used are standardized, and you can go on our website and look up the security white paper, and it does describe this in further details that I'll be happy to answer here and at a more high level explanation. But people who are interested can definitely go on our website. And we also have a security mailing list, which I respond to questions that are very similar to what you have right now.
Okay.
And I did I think last Friday, I received the exact question, and I was happy to answer it. So the gist of it is that for this to work, both parties, so the one that is wanting to delegate their assets after their life to someone.
Yeah.
So, and the receiving party, the one that will receive, let's say, in the case of a parent and a child, that could be an example. So both of these parties need to create their own PasswordBox account. So that's the first requirement.
Okay.
Once that's done, and that can be done throughout the activation process of the legacy locker feature. So first party, let's say the parent creates a PasswordBox account and goes and click on the legacy locker feature, invites their child. That he then receives an email asking him to join PasswordBox. He's going to create his own account. Mm-hmm. And he's going to be able to use it on a daily basis, just like his parent.
Yep.
But once that's done, they'll be able to share passwords during their life. So that's a typical another feature that we have where you can share passwords between people. Mm-hmm. During your life, let's say.
It might be handy for, say, a receptionist or something.
Right. Now, but can that partnership be terminated?
Yes, exactly. You can revoke the sharing at any time.
Okay, that's good. I mean, because there are things like a receptionist with a boss, where the receptionist would need to know all of the passwords, or like an estranged son, or, a partnership dissolving, a marriage dissolving, and then now you don't want that person to know all of your passwords. Right. But if they were the original recipient in the legacy locker, you can actually change recipients. Then,
yeah.
Right.
So
and definitely, so you can at any moment after you've asked someone to be your legacy locker recipient. Let's say I don't know the exact term.
The
top of my
digital
head.
heir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That would be the correct term. So you can revoke it at any time. So how it works technically is. It uses, I'm going to use a few technical words for a moment so that people who know them will know what I'm talking about after. Okay. Yeah. But then I'll jump to something a little bit more visually, anybody can understand in terms of real life examples. So basically we use RSA key pairs, which is a well-known cryptographic standard. It has been invented in the 70s.
Yep. So this is encryption to keep our data safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. So RSA, the neat thing about RSA, the RSA system, is that it is what we call asymmetric. So contrary to other types of encryption, which are symmetric, so that is, you can encrypt using a key, and you can decrypt using the same key. So that is a reversible process. So that is what we use when you want to store your own passwords in our database. So you get your master password. You're then able to derive the key, as I said previously, which is used for encrypting those assets. And later, you can retrieve those assets and decrypt them for your own use using the same master password. So that's one thing.
Okay.
Regarding legacy locker, as I said, it uses asymmetric encryption. So that is a type of encryption that allows someone to encrypt the data using one key, but then for a decryption, it requires another key. So that is something very interesting and very specific to those types of algorithms. And it is something that everybody uses every day when they browse the internet. You might not even know it, but when you see it in a URL bar, the HTTPS URL, the magic that happens behind it is based in part on RSA.
Okay.
So nothing new here. We did not invent a new algorithm in terms of encryption. And when you talk between security focused people, it is definitely not a good practice to reinvent the wheel.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have a question. It's my question, and also somebody on the chat room had said that he was happy that his ex-wife doesn't know his password, so he would want to likely change all of your passwords if you were going through a divorce, right? And same with the heartbleed bug. You were told to change all of your passwords. Now, I have PasswordBox, and my question is it easy? Is there a way that's easy to change the passwords on PasswordBox? Because I was finding it difficult. I actually only ended up changing one password because I was having a hard time kind of navigating through, because it always wants to log me in with the password that I have. So then I had to show the password, copy it to the clipboard. You know, like there was a lot of steps. Is there some sort of easy step to change your passwords once they're already in PasswordBox?
It is, as you just explained, it is like if you have to do it fully manually, it is definitely a very tedious process to go side by side and find where you can change your password. So each and every site has a different UI, and oftentimes it's going to be kind of hidden somewhere up. You know, you click on your account profile, and then you find how to change the password. And because of that, because each and every site is very different in their way they allow you to change password. I mean, even more than they are different when you look at the login form. So the login forms are typically different, but their similarity is definitely closer than if you compare that to changing password. And that is an active area of research of a team here at PasswordBox that we call the machine learning team. And they use sophisticated algorithms based on artificial intelligence to essentially browse the internet automatically using algorithms and detect those forms and identify the various features on each and every site. So one thing that they would do is identify the login forms and also where the URL is to change the password and all that. To answer your question, at this moment, we do not have kind of an automated process to change your passwords, but you might imagine that it is something we are working really hard.
Can I just say, François, just to be absolutely fair to PasswordBox, that Heartbleed was an unfair initiation for any security company, plain and simple, because nobody, the banks, not Twitter, not Facebook, well, Facebook, but nobody saw this coming. So the need to go onto the internet and change all of your passwords up until now would happen every time you got out of a relationship,
Right.
Every time you anything, a divorce is an example. Now I've got to change all my millions of passwords. Well, with PasswordBox, now I only typically have to change one password.
Right.
All the other ones can stay the same because my master password is the only one I need to change if I've shared that for some reason.
Which there's no need to.
So to be really fair to PasswordBox, this was an you'd never have to do this except for the fact that Heartbleed happened to happen and nobody saw that coming, and it's not PasswordBox's fault, just to be absolutely fair. And kind of goes along the same vein of what Good Guy was saying in the chat room about Darren at Hack5 creating a keylogger or clipboard monitor that can track what you put in to, for passwords and things. Well, with PasswordBox, if somebody were to get your master password, again, all you have to do is change the master password. Because the main passwords are automatically filled in on the forms, automatically submitted through your web browser. So they're never actually touching your keyboard. They're never touching your clipboard. They're just going directly to the browser,
that's
right?
True.
So again, similarly, you only have to change one password. So
is that a question that's similar to that the two-factor authentication? Is that...
That's a little along a different vein.
Okay.
That's fair enough, François? Just to put that out there about Heartbleed.
Yeah, definitely. It was let's say a worldwide security issue that affected a number of companies, and I'm
glad to see you look like you have caught up on your sleep. So that's good, because a lot of sleepless nights for security engineers for sure. We have lots of questions that have come in to us, François. I'll just mention we are speaking with François Proulx from PasswordBox if you're just tuning in, and we're talking a little bit more in depth about the technical aspects of PasswordBox, how it works. You can find out about the application, get a copy of it for your browser on Windows, Linux, and Mac. cat5.tv/password is our quick link that's going to direct you right over to their website. Mastermind ZH has a few questions for you, François. Maybe you just alluded to one of them.
One of them, yeah. Now there's a few of them. One, he wants to know if there's a way to export his passwords to a file, like an XML file or something similar, just to have them, I guess, on hand himself. Is there a feature?
So at this moment, no, but it is something that is getting higher and higher in our priorities list.
Okay,
right.
So the request has been made. Yeah.
He's not the first person to ask.
Okay.
We do support importing from a standard, like a comma separated value, which is a fairly common type of file. So it is possible for you to import your existing passwords you may have, but in terms of exporting, at the time we are speaking, it is not in our product. But again, if it is something that you care about, you can definitely send us feature enhancement requests, and the more people we get,
there you go.
The priorities are adapted and
so
each and every
put in
week.
a vote for Mastermind ZH.
Well, there's
his real name.
That's right. He has a second, I guess, enhancement that he'd like, which is a category option for the passwords. You know how they're listed alphabetically? He'd like categorically as well as alphabetically.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Which is, that's something maybe that you could toggle between the two.
Yeah, it's definitely a good suggestion.
Yeah. You get a long list eventually of passwords. If you've been to 1,000 sites, you now have 1,000 passwords.
Right.
Is that something that is on the horizon at all?
Yeah, it's.
You said and you shook your head, so I'm thinking this is the first you've heard of it.
It is something that we've already even the design aspects of it has been thought of.
Yeah.
Again, we have a lot of great cool features that are coming up, and some of those that we just discussed. They'll be coming at some point.
I guess at that point, technically, PasswordBox becomes not just a password management tool, but also a bit of a accessible cloud-based bookmarking tool.
Right.
So that I'm actually keeping track of my websites as opposed to just my passwords. That's kind of a neat neat way to look at it, I think.
Now, one of the questions is, and I don't quite understand what the two-factor authentication is.
Okay.
Is that when you have a password and then you have that crazy scrolly letter thing that you also... Okay,
that's
what is
CAPTCHA.
that?
Well, the question for you, François, comes to us from Mastermind ZH, who wants to know, knowing that, of course, Heartbleed is one of those examples that have made a lot of people aware that single-factor authentication is not as safe as we once thought it could be.
So that is just a password? Is that what single-factor
essentially, yeah.
Okay.
One way of authenticating you as a user. So knowing that, and knowing that, okay, and this is a hard question, because I have to be blunt about it. I have to be... This is for the community, all right? And this is for your users as well as my viewers. PasswordBox is a single-factor authentication master password. When are we going to see second-factor authentication so that we can be more assured that our gross list of thousands of passwords is protected?
Yeah, good, very good question. And for that, in that I can tell you it's even closer in terms of timeline than the previous two features. It is literally a few short weeks away from now.
Okay.
I would say our goal is to put it in production in our products in June.
June of 2014.
Yes,
that is
so this quarter.
Close.
Very good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. And I'm sure the community just went, oh.
Yeah.
So we've pretty much completed the design aspects of it. I've reviewed the security. We are just right now dispatching the various tasks for each and every team. And in terms of, obviously, we don't want to rush things too fast, because we want to ensure the quality of our product. So in terms of QA, when you talk in terms of adding a second factor, that adds a number of other more complex scenarios to test when we want to look at the quality of our products. So that is a big aspect we want to consider before rushing second factor, but it is coming very soon.
Cool. Good to hear. Good to hear.
Excellent.
Now, I know we kind of got sidetracked from a very, very important question that I know we're running really, really short on time, and we're milking your time here, François, and I appreciate it. Going back to the legacy locker feature, were you describing, if I'm not mistaken, when I have somebody who is my digital heir, that my passwords are then replicated into a second database in with a different encryption algorithm?
That you are very close to guessing how it works. So I explained previously that there is this well-known encryption algorithm called RSA that has a very unique capability where you can encrypt using one key and decrypt with another key. So the way it works is really like if we take real life examples, that would be a scenario where you have someone you'd like to share something with. That person who's going to be the recipient is going to give you a box. And so it's fun to think that PasswordBox. I wasn't here when they came up with the term PasswordBox, but I'm quite certain that this has something to do with it. So let's imagine the person you wanna delegate all your passwords after your death gives you a box. Okay, so you take.
I got a physical box with a lock and key. I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. So they give you that box, and they also give you a padlock. That you can put to secure that box, and you don't have either the combination or the key, whatever it may be for that padlock. But so that person keeps that piece secret. So either the key for the padlock or the combination.
Yeah.
So you have the padlock that's opened at the moment you receive the box. So you can put all your passwords. So basically, as you use PasswordBox, you use the technology we discussed previously for encrypting your own passwords. But when you activate the legacy locker feature, for each modification of your password, let's say you add a new password to your box, it will be encrypted for you and for that digital hair.
Right,
and put inside that little box that he gave you. Okay. But what's very important here to understand is that, let's say you have multiple recipients. Okay. They will each have a different key. So, so they will give you a different box and a different padlock, let's say.
Okay.
So is now my digital heir's key encrypted with non-reversible encryption in their account?
Pretty much. So so that box, you essentially manage it during your life. The PasswordBox product does it for you. So it will seamlessly encrypt twice, so or a number of times, X number of times that you have recipients, and you put those in that extra box. It gets protected on our servers as well, because it is encrypted with a key that only the recipient has.
Right.
But the key thing here, and that is really what distinguishes it from a regular shared password. So as we said, you can share passwords normally, but the key thing is that on our servers, when you activated the legacy locker, those items are marked as not to be released until an event that you have essentially decided what it will be. So the simple example would be your own death. And when that happens, that digital hair comes to us. Okay. They send us an email, call us over the phone or whatever, how they want to contact us, and at that moment they'll be required to provide us with legal documents that we can validate.
We understand that aspect of it for sure. I think it's the technical aspect that has kind of gotten people going,
I wonder.
So I, as the digital heir, and I have to say this out loud so that you can just go, because people are going to say, oh, you're not supposed to reveal trade secrets. But I, as the digital heir, have an encrypted key that will unlock a different database storing all my passwords, and so I need my master password in order to get that key.
Right.
So the NSA can't show up and say, give me the key for that person, for that other person's, because they don't have the unlock key for this person's, which reveals the key to that.
That is correct. So as we said in the beginning, that receiving party needs to have created a PasswordBox account.
Yes.
Right.
So they have their own master password
right there,
and then that master password is able to recover essentially the magical padlock key that they've given us at the very beginning of the process.
Okay, well, thank you very much, François.
Yeah.
I really do feel like, okay, we comprehend this now, and I know that these are important factors of how your company works, but for the users, they need the confidence to know that this is actually a secure process that's storing our password. So I appreciate you helping us to understand that. Can I just go back to two-factor authentication finally, just because we want to know, people in the chat room, Agamotto wants to know, are you going to have eyeball scanners? I saw in the chat room, are we going to be able to use our cell phones, fingerprint readers? What can you reveal about how the two-factor authentication is going to work just in a couple of moments' time?
Okay, so one thing we've announced recently is integration with the new Samsung S5, which has a fingerprint scanner.
Yeah.
So that already exists for the Android version of our app. Also, we've announced integration with the NIMI bracelet, which detects your heartbeat. It is a Toronto-based company, actually. And we partner closely with them on integrating the NIMI with our products.
Okay. Interesting.
So, like biometrics as an area of research is something that we are really focusing a lot of efforts on. Let's say the time frame would be in the next few months for those to come to get ready for a production adoption. But in terms of the exact details of the second factor, which will be released in June, let me just say that it will be very, very similar to what Google does. So if you look at the way Google does it, or Yahoo, it'll be modeled in a very similar fashion.
Oh, okay.
So we've got multiple different ways to enter two-factor authentication. So, you know what, François, this has been very informative. It looks like our chat room is satisfied with regards to everything that was said here. One question coming in here, just want to proof it here. Okay, well, I'll touch that one in the chat room, François, because I believe that we've already answered that. And if anyone here who's watching this right now doesn't quite grasp the security aspect, because I feel confident now, and that's what we set out. Okay, well, if I get it, then that's good. because I can explain it to you. So if you have questions, pop us an email live@category5.tv. If it's above me, I'll forward it on to the folks over at PasswordBox. But I do feel confident that I understand how this thing works. So
it is also very user friendly because I use it and I am not ultra tech savvy. And
François, forgive me, but and viewers, I don't want this to sound like we're sales pitching PasswordBox, because we're not. This is as much about understanding security and the importance of having strong passwords and having multiple passwords all across the board. And PasswordBox simply is the tool that we've chosen that really works well in order to help us to establish a good, safe online presence. But then these kind of questions come up where, okay, we need to understand that our passwords are in fact safe. And François, I really appreciate your time here tonight. Thank you for joining us at Category 5.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And again, just to close, the people who are interested in diving even in more depth, they can go look at our security white paper on our website, or reach us at security@passwordbox.com, which is our security-focused mailing list. And I'm the one who's responsible for answering those kinds of questions, and we'll be happy to answer those.
Thanks, François.
Thank you.
And again, a note that we do have a short link for you, cat5.tv/password. François, great having you here. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Category 5 TV is a production of Prodigy Digital Solutions and is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 2.5 Canada. Thanks for watching.